President Obama is now attacking on the Big Bird front. You remember Mitt Romney during the debate said that he would cut off funding to PBS. He says, I love Big Bird, but I'm going to murder her. He didn't phrase it that way, but if you look at President Obama's ad, you do get that sense. Let's show it to you.
I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Bernie Madoff, Ken Lay, Dennis Kozlowski, criminals, gluttons of greed, and the evil genius who towered over them. One man has the guts to speak his name.
Big Bird, Big Bird, Big Bird.
It's me, Big Bird.
Big, yellow, a menace to our economy. Mitt Romney knows it's not Wall Street you have to worry about. It's Sesame Street.
I think that's funny, man. Now, a lot of people are saying, how dare he? This is a very important, large campaign, mucking it up in those small issues. But wait a minute, Romney, you brought it up, man. I didn't bring it up, you brought it up. Romney's today saying on the campaign trail, I cannot believe that he would be bothering with this kind of nonsense. And who is he aided and abetted by? The press. Here is an NBC reporter saying something similar.
And to give you a sense of what some may describe as the absurd back and forth in this election season, take a look at this. This is a new ad just out this morning from the Obama campaign.
Now that's Peter Alexander from NBC saying the absurd back and forth. But wait a minute, when the Romney people do things that are absurd, it's about substantive issues. Oh, I'm going to do a $5 trillion tax cut, but don't worry, it's not going to help the rich. That's ridiculous. Oh, you know, I cover people with pre-existing conditions. No, you don't. That's just not true. And here, of course, the press calls it even. Oh, they lie, and President Obama did a Big Bird ad we didn't like. Now, interestingly enough, the people who also didn't like it is Sesame Street. They put out a statement. They said, Sesame Workshop is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, and we do not endorse candidates or participate in political campaigns. We have approved no campaign ads, and as our general practice, have requested that both campaigns remove Sesame Street characters and trademarks from their campaign materials. Now, I understand why they'd want to do that. They need the funding, and they don't want to piss off Republicans or Democrats. And plus, that statement is pretty true. It makes sense. Now, they also put out a statement about how this has all been politicized. And this one is fairly clear. A few days before the first presidential debate, I talked with CNN's Solid O'Brien about Sesame, says the person who runs PBS, not knowing that with all the issues we face in the country, the presidential election would come down to a referendum on Big Bird. But that is what Governor Romney made it when he said he liked Big Bird but would cut PBS funding. So is it even? No. One side says I'm going to cut all its funding and pretends that it's one of the big problems in this country. Another side says I'm not going to cut its funding, and it's not the main problem in this country. Of course it's not the main problem in this country. Now, you know that, I know that, but apparently not all Americans know that. Are you ready for some mind-blowing stats? Turns out, according to a CNN poll, 7% of the American public thinks that PBS gets as much as half of the U.S. budget. That's unbelievable. Half of the budget goes to PBS? 30% think it's 5%. They might think that's a small number. It's not reality. As you see there, in reality, it gets 0.014% of the budget. I've seen it as low as 0.012% of the budget. But a huge percentage of the country think, oh, well, a huge part of the budget is PBS. Mitt Romney's getting tough with the budget. I'll tell you what, he's going to cut PBS. That'll show him. In reality, the amount of federal money that goes to PBS is $22.3 million. And that might be a lot of money to you and I, but it is almost nothing for the budget. Now, in fact, I can show you. Let's look at priorities. Mitt Romney, his priority is to give Sheldon Adelson another tax cut. Now, I already told you his family would get nearly a $9 billion estate tax cut. But forget his family. How about Adelson? If Romney wins, he gets over $2 billion in tax cuts. Now, where would you rather have the money go? $2 billion extra into the pockets of Sheldon Adelson so that he could pay less taxes than he already does, which is already pretty damn low, or $22 million for Big Bird and the rest of Sesame Street. Okay, I'm not done yet. How about Bush's tax cuts? Romney wants to extend them and then cut another 20%. But forget the 20%. If all he did was extend Bush's tax cuts, that costs us another $1 trillion over the next 10 years. $22 million for PBS, $1 trillion for tax cuts. How about the Iraq War? Now, estimates range anywhere from $1 trillion to, if you take into account all the different expenses of Iraq, including the veterans that return home and need care for all that time and its effects on our economy, it costs anywhere up to $5 trillion. So now let me see. What would you prefer? Spend $22 million on Big Bird or $5 trillion on a disastrous war that wound up getting hundreds of thousands of civilians killed, over 5,000 of our guys killed, tens of thousands wounded? Now, gee, I wonder which one's the better investment. And that's why that ad by Obama makes sense, because it goes to the priorities of Mitt Romney and the Republicans and how they want to try to deceive you as if Big Bird is the problem and their tax cuts and their wars aren't the problem. Now, that doesn't mean I'm letting Obama off the hook. If you notice in that ad, when they went to Wall Street criminals, who'd they go to? They went to Ken Lay. Now, wait a minute. Ken Lay was not prosecuted under the Obama administration. He was prosecuted under the Bush administration. That was Enron. That was like nearly a decade ago. And then they went to Kozlowski. Well, that guy was the guy who ran Tyco. Was he prosecuted under Obama? Nope. Prosecuted under Bush. Well, then the next guy was Bernie Madoff. When was Bernie Madoff turned in? It's turned in by his son at the end of 2008, before President Obama took office. So when he goes to talk about Mitt Romney wants to let Wall Street off the hook, President Obama cannot name a single Wall Street criminal he put behind bars. That's the real problem with the ad. It's not that President Obama is going to be better or worse for Sesame Street. The real problem for America is that President Obama was just as easy on Wall Street as Mitt Romney would be. That both of their priorities are wrong. You couldn't name a single Wall Street criminal. I mean, we had the largest fraud in American history. President Obama didn't put away a single one of those guys. He had to go back decades to find these guys that even Bush put away. That's embarrassing. And that's the reality.